Alright folks, so looking at this beautiful plant next to me, sure, some of you are shivering in your boots and thinking, I kill them lots, plant murderer. Yeah, we all have and we all still do. So today I'm going to show you how to look after one genus of orchids, which are called Cymbidiums. Now, Cymbidiums are part of a huge genus of plants, which all come from Asia. So let's think about it. Asia, what is it? Hot, humid. Yep, they don't get frost. Absolutely not. And they don't get really, really cool temperatures. So in order for us to have these beauties in our garden, that's what we've got to simulate. Remember, when you're thinking about growing a specific type of plant in your garden, the first question you've got to ask yourself is from whence it came. You know, just like beautiful Cymbidiums are semi-terrestrial. Yep, semi-terrestrial, big word, meaning they can live part out the soil, part in the soil, and they love living on decomposing bark. So at some point, you're going to need to repot them. And that generally happens every 2 years. And you will notice your plant will start telling you. Number one, the first reason that it's going to tell you is that it's not going to produce a flower in late winter, early spring, because that's when they flower. They need the cooler evening temperatures to be able to send the spike up. Another thing that we get wrong with Cymbidiums is that we put them in too much shade. They want a maximum of a 40% shade, and in the tropical areas of South Africa, they're actually an amazing garden plant because your nighttime temperature doesn't drop below 5 degrees. That's the secret. And remember, these flower spikes last for 6, 8, up to 12 weeks in your home. Now that's better than any bunch of fresh cut flowers. See where I'm going. If it looks like this, you're good to go. This doesn't need splitting. You can see there's still a lot of space for development here. These are the bulbs, and then your flower spike emerges. However, wait and watch this. If your baby looks like this, well, you can immediately see there's an issue, all right? What's happening is the roots, which even just to touch are feeling a bit dry, are really pushing out through the pot. It's got no more space to grow on the edge here, and you can see we've got a huge amount of fighting for space, air, and that's not what we want. So today we're going to show you how to repot it successfully and make sure that it carries on living and the aftercare. Now folks, I am no expert at orchids. In fact, all of these plants I inherited from my late mother. So there's an amazing sentimental value that I have to them, as many plants do in our garden. They're able to take you back generations, and they're able to really have certain touch points in our lives. And that's what these little babies are to me. So sure, I do take care of them and I do look after them like they made my children. So first up, we're going to put this guy on its side. All right, and this might look a bit vicious, but stay with me because we've got to get this baby right out the pot. And you can see its roots have already started hooking onto the side, so a little bit of brute force is going to be necessary. And let's get him out of the pot, and it's probably going to be a sigh of relief to the plant once I do get it out. Yeah, there she comes. Boy, and look at that root mass, just amazing. So this, you can see when you feel the roots, they're quite spongy, and that's the normal texture of them, because these roots can grow in the air as well as in the soil. So first job that we've got to do is really just beat it up and get all the decomposing bits of bark out of it. Now, your general sign of when you do need to repot it as well is when your bark has decomposed into almost soil. You can see that. You know, there are a few bits of bark here, but it certainly doesn't look like that. All right, and that's your telltale sign that you are needing to transplant. Okay, so a bit of beating about. All right, guys, can you see the difference here between these roots, okay, and these roots? You can immediately see the difference between healthy new growth and old growth, right? And this is what we're wanting. And Cymbidiums push this out, this growth, directly after flowering. During the warmer months, which makes sense, warmth, heat produces growth. This is when they do their major push in growth. So Looking at this plant, sure, okay, I can see here that there's a beautiful growth point coming up here and a new leaf pushing through there. So what I'm going to do is literally take this boy, all right, and move it across, and then I'm going to take my knife and we are going to cut it off. And here we want to try and keep as many roots as we can without actually damaging into the core of the bulb, which is here. Because if you break into here or cut into here, that is the first area where disease will then set in. So it's a bit like dissecting something. Take it easy, take it slowly, and you'll get through it. There it is, guys. Look at that. Now here is a beautiful, beautiful new segment of Cymbidium. You can see we've kept all the new roots. Here's a lovely new shoot that's pushing through, and now we get to repot. I'm going to be using the same pot that I took it out of, given it a wipe, given it a clean. And here is the important part. This is the potting soil. This is the medium that we use. You can purchase this at your local garden center and ask for a Cymbidium mix. And literally what it is coarse bark, all right, and it's been mixed in with some polystyrene balls which help for the lightness and the aeration. There's no drainage pebbles necessary at the base here because this entire product is incredibly well draining. So we start off by just putting in a handful at the base. And the trick with these, whenever you're planting a Cymbidium, and any orchid for that matter, is to literally just gauge it. So you don't want to push all the roots and squash them up together because it's going to take such a long while for the plant to recover. So we hold it in place. Let's have a look at our height. Yes, that's 100%. And then we start adding in and literally just agitating the bark as we're putting it down so that the roots can literally get into place in between the bark bits. There we go. And then you simply just get your level right. You can firm it down a bit as well. But most importantly, we are ending up with a soil medium which is holding it, which is full of air pockets, great drainage, which is what your orchids love. And the drainage part is the part where most of us end up killing our plants because we leave them in a beautiful pot holder indoors and we just keep watering and watering. And that is when the plants end up drowning. So take a look at that. There's already one segment planted up, looking good. And yes, new segment, looking great. Move that out the way. And there she is. And that guy is going to be off to a really good start. You'll notice that I'm now cutting away all the discarded old roots, and they are being removed away because they are not the new good feeder roots that we're looking for. All right, folks, so transplanting has been done. And these two guys are really looking good because it's now growing season, because they finished flowering, and that's when you transplant. We're wanting a high nitrogen fertilizer. But once you've transplanted them, this is the next step and probably your most vital step. Now, I've got a trug here that is about halfway full of water, and this is probably the best way to be able to water your orchids. Literally, you take them one by one, pop them in here, and you just allow them to draw in the moisture. Leave it here for about 20 minutes. Go off, go and have a cup of tea, all right? And come back, and then you replace it with the next one. This good soaking. And because we're using terracotta, it can absorb all the moisture, and you know that this plant is going to get the really good moisture all the way through. Plus, the bark chips also absorb moisture, and they in turn will create humidity, and it's the humidity that we're wanting. What you can do to save a whole lot of time and energy is, once you're doing your watering, is you can simply just add some good organic plant food, which is high in nitrogen, into your watering mix. So we've got water, we've got food, and a little bit of love, and that's all you need. And take a look at when I pull this baby out. Look at that drainage. All the excess draining away, that's what we want. And then you can pop it back in to the light shade or wherever your preferred spot is.